Hi everyone, it's Michelle from Scrap Secrets, and I wanted to show you this special request card that I got today. I had a request for a salt and pepper shaker dressed as a bride and a groom, and for it to say, "We go together like salt and pepper." So here's what I came up with, and I'm going to tell you how I put everything together. So the first thing that I did was I went to mycutsearch.com and typed in salt and pepper. If you guys haven't seen any of my other videos where I talk about this site, it's a website that you can go to and type in a phrase or an image that you're looking for, and it will bring up any Cricut cartridge that it has in its database that has those icons or phrases on it. So when I typed in salt and pepper, a couple of responses came back, and the one that I had that I liked best was the From My Kitchen Cricut cartridge. From page 58, I did 4 cuts, and I did these all at 3.5 inches, and I cut them out twice. I cut them out once in black and once in white because I wanted the base for the salt to be white, but the base for the pepper to be in black. And then I wanted to also be able to alternate the pieces, so the black pepper had a white P, and vice versa, the white salt had a black S. So I cut them all out at 3.5 inches twice, once on black and once in white. And then the next thing that I did was I went back to mycutsearch.com because the person who requested it wanted a veil and a bow tie to go along with the salt and pepper shakers. So I had to do a little bit of experimenting because since it's not on the same cartridge, I couldn't get it to be the same sizes. If I cut them out at 3.5 inches, it would have been way too big, especially the bow tie. So what I did was, after I went into mycutsearch.com, I found that the cartridge Paper Doll Dress Up had the bow tie and the veil. So I went to page 30 and I cut out the accessories 1 on the shift key, and it has the bow tie here. So after a little bit of experimenting using the real dial feature, which means that it cuts out true at 3/4 of an inch size, because if you cut it out at 3/4 of an inch without the real dial on, it would think that you made these base cuts at 3/4 of an inch, and this would be microscopic. So I cut it out using real dial at 3/4 of an inch for the bow tie. I did the same sort of thing with the veil, and I used the real dial and cut it out at 3 inches. So just so that it was long enough to go most of the way down the salt shaker, and it also covered the top. So I had those cuts. I had to experiment. It took me a couple times to figure out the exact right sizes for those. So after that, the last cuts that I needed to make were the saying, "We go together like." So I went through my pile of Cricut cartridges and found the ones that had fonts in it, and the one that I liked best was from the Storybook cartridge, and I used the letters, the shadow feature for the letters. So I cut those all out of black at 1/2 inch. And then the very last cut that I needed to make was the and sign, and I knew I wanted it to be white and black. So I took the shadow feature and cut that out of black at 2 inches, and I cut the white base layer out at 2 inches. So then I went to before I put everything together, the very last step that I did, I don't know if you can see this, the very top of the salt and pepper shaker, you can see, I ran those through the Cuttlebug Swiss Dots folder to make it look like there was holes in the top, like it was an actual salt and pepper shaker. So that was the last thing I did before I found the paper to put on the base. The card base is a white card base, and it's 5 by 7. And then the black piece is 1/8 of an inch smaller than the card base. And then this argyle print paper is cut at 1/8 of an inch smaller than the black piece of paper. So I glued those down, and then I worked on putting the salt and pepper shakers together. So before I glued the veil down, I used some Studio G glitter glue and just went around the veil and just put some sparkle to it. Give it a little bit of a dimension because it was sitting on some white cardstock and it looked like it kind of got lost in there, so I figure if I gave it a little bit of sparkle, it would make it stand out more from the salt base. So when you make the cuts for the salt and pepper shakers, there's a S and a P cut into the base, so you know exactly where to place the letters. So I put those together, and then there's cut lines for the tops. So I just alternated with the white base. I did the S in the black, and then the lid was black, and then the very top of it was white, and then vice versa for the black pepper side. Then I glued down the bow tie, and then after the veil was done, I glued the veil to the top of it, and then glued the and sign together, and then just kind of eyeballed the top and put the phrase together, and that was the card. So it was actually a challenge for me. It was actually something that was kind of cool to do because I don't usually do cards where I use several different Cricut cartridges and have to mix them and have to figure out sizes and things like that. So it was a little bit of a challenge for me today, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and I think that it came out really cute, and I hope that the person who requested this will be happy with it. So I thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye!